Okay. So I think I'm ready. Welcome everybody on TikTok, on YouTube. If you're new here, this is a spirituality or non-duality or truth of reality, consciousness, etc. question and answer, awakening, question and answer. What does that mean? Essentially, I am here to help guide you back to your true self. If you don't think you have a true self, then keep scrolling. This isn't for you. If you're curious, hang around. Everything that you say you are, that you identify as, isn't what you are. Think about it. You are identifying as something. So what were you before you chose to identify as that thing? You were something, you still existed. What is it that remains when you change your identities? Surely that must be the truest you, or at least truer than your identified self. Notice that you just exist without you even having to think you exist. You just are. Thoughts change, emotions change, your body changes. And you are that consistent self throughout all changes of what we call the body-mind construct. What is this consistent self? What is this true I? You say I say I. What are we referring to? It cannot be our personas. It cannot be our bodies. We can believe it is, referring to those things, but we can also believe that we can fly. Doesn't mean it's true. That which does not change in your experience must be the truest you. That which is observing experience must be the truest you. What is that? That's what I'm here to help you find and discover. So any questions? Ask away. And my name is Tiger, by the way, if you didn't recognize. And hello everybody who said hello, by the way. Who's got the questions? Check YouTube as well. You don't have to rush your question. However, if you're overthinking, asking a question about how to awaken and all of these things, just ask it anyway. What are you teaching today? What I always teach. How to awaken to your true self. What reality truly is. Lisa says, how far I am into my spiritual awakening, please. I can't possibly know that until we have a conversation. So you need to ask some more distinctive questions than that. But what I will tell you, Lisa, is you are already that which you are seeking to be. That's the funny thing about awakening, is we think that we are awakening, but we are more remembering what we truly are. what is your perspective on twin flames? All is one, all is consciousness. However, sometimes we have this deeper desire to awaken quicker. And that's often when a twin flame enters our life. Another expression of consciousness who triggers us in either a good way or a negative way, but somehow does it in a way that makes it easier for us to choose to actually discover the truth of ourselves. What's happened to this? However, it's still just a concept. The truth is we are already that wholeness. First time seeing you, no worries. I walked away from my twin, finding after 3 years broken up. He's not on my path now. Yeah, that can happen. Believe it or not, everything is happening for your awakening. Everything. But this can only really make sense if you understand that you are not the persona. You are the observer of it. You are the pure self. You are pure consciousness. That can never be hurt. We purely experience so-called physical reality, which is illusory, just to experience what it's like. And some things bring us deeper and further, seemingly, into the illusion that we are separate from the source, that we are actually physical, that we are finite, that we have a beginning and an end. But actually we wanted to experience what it's like as the background to the foreground of reality. The background is what I call our true self, this pure consciousness that we are. And remember, consciousness is just a word. We're beyond the words. We're nameless, we're formless, yet we exist. How do we know that? It's self-evident. Who has a question? Do. As per usual, I'll be here for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. I usually end up doing 2 hours. But it does kind of depend on you asking me questions as well. Because I don't really want to do a monologue. I do that on my YouTube channels and some of my TikTok, or all of my TikTok videos. But this is for you to actually ask me a question. Because I know I say triggering things in my content. I know I do. And it's on purpose. It's to shake you up. If you want to be shaken. Do you think Source created because it's lonely? No, it's not possible for it to be lonely, because there is nothing other than it. The experience is purely to experience the idea of there even being something other than itself. But as it does not share the limits of the human mind, the animal body, the human body, it cannot experience such things as separateness, to even have the experience of loneliness. So it's purely just its sheer magnificence in its infinity that it quote unquote chooses to experience what it's like to be separate, a separate entity, a finite entity in a so-called physical world. Would you see if I have any chakras out of balance? So I say this every live to someone or all of you, depending on who asks the question. The chakra system isn't even, in my opinion, worth looking at. What do I mean by this? What I teach you guys is the direct path. How to go directly to what you truly are. You're not the body, you're not the mind, you're not a chakra system. You're the observer of all of these things. The more we identify with the body and the mind as being what we are instead of being that which we use to experience reality, the more weighed down, the more frustrated, the more separate we will feel. However, you can see in a more direct way that you are the observer of these things. And that's very freeing. That's very freeing. You can then use a so-called chakra system as more of a tool, as a map to connect to your body or your energy. But as for a so-called spinning chakra wheel, that's not actually a thing. That's an imagination. That's a belief. Now you might say, well, how can I say that? People say this all over the world and ancient gurus, and do they? Do they actually say that? Is that really what they're saying? Or they're pointing to something else? Again, you are the observer of the so-called chakra system. You're the observer of the body, of the mind. What you are can never be out of balance. You are so in balance, Lisa, that you observe the idea, the experience of imbalance. That's why you are so sure of the experience of the balance being out of whack. Because you are perfectly balanced to witness that. Do you see what I'm saying? If you experience fear, you are not in fear to be aware and to be able to report to your mind, oh, fear is taking place. Whatever you experience, you are not that. You are always the experiencer. We believe we are our emotions, our thoughts, but that's just a belief. If we were to be truly sincere with ourselves, what we're actually experiencing is just that, an experience of thoughts, an experience of emotions. But we go one step further when we don't need to and say, oh, it's me, those thoughts are me, those emotions are me. No, you are that which is observing it. If you saw a car driving down the street, you wouldn't say that's me. It comes and goes, right? Thoughts, same thing. They come, they go. Emotions, same thing. They come, they go. Yes, they are more connected to you than a random car, obviously. But they are still distinct from what you really are. The more you marinate, the more you sit in your true self, that true seat of this observer, the more fun and the more light you will feel. And the less worried you will be about balancing your chakras. Guess what? I've been there. I say this often. There probably isn't a spiritual practice that most of you have done that I haven't tried. So I get it. But once you understand what you really are, then you can use these spiritual tools and practices as more fun, more just a way of experiencing and playing with reality and energy, instead of identifying as being this person that needs to be healed. Healed? Again, you are so full and whole that you observe the apparent sickness, whatever sickness you may have, or anxiety, etc. You observe it clearly, so clearly that you, again, can report on it. I have this, I feel this. Now, once again, when you say I, you're not really referring to what you think you are, because you are not the one that is sick. You're not the one that is overthinking. You're the observer of it. Always. Let me say this again. You are always, my fellow expressions of consciousness, an expression of consciousness. You are always that. You are the space that allows for experience to take place. How can I say that? Well, does experience not appear to you? Does it not feel like there is a so-called inside world that you call the mind? Of course there does. But let's extrapolate that. When you look at the so-called outside world, the experience itself, doesn't that feel like it's within you? It's because it is. The experience of the so-called outside world and your mind and your body. This is what's always overlooked. Not only is the world within you, your body and mind is within you. You think you are perceiving from your body, but no, you are perceiving the body. You perceive the changes of the body. Your body is not separate from the world, is it? So why would we say that the world is one, but the body is not? All is one, including your body. They are one and the same. Meaning the world and your body is one and the same. However, you are the observer of both things. You're welcome, Lisa. Kaz says, levels of sentience within animals. Please explain. Are fish sentient? Everything is what I call an expression of consciousness. So a fish is an expression of consciousness. As an expression of that, they're going to have different access to intelligence, to intelligence and to levels of awareness. Same as people. Not all people are aware. Most people are sleeping. A lot of people are barely sentient. And what I mean by that is not understanding their true nature. I don't mean they don't, they're not human. I mean in terms of not understanding their true nature. You see, like this always happens. This person called Colin saying a whole lot of nothing. Like, this is what happens in the world, okay? Not only do other people attempt to keep you locked into your mind, into your ego, so do you. You do it to yourself. Thank you for that, for that, Colin. You've just helped me make a point. There are many Collins in the world, trust me. There are many Collins trying to bring you down. No, you are your mind. You are your ego. Don't worry about anything else. It doesn't make sense, therefore it's not true. Good old Collins, eh? Is it wrong that I feel distant to a parental figure who is very religious, but I feel more spiritual? No, it's not wrong. It's natural. Because you have different viewpoints. However, your family members, just as I am, just as other people are all connected to that same source. We are all expressions, I'm going to keep saying this, of consciousness. We are all expressions of source. So even from that vantage point, hopefully you can see that they're doing nothing wrong per se by believing their religious views, and they too are an expression of the same thing that you are. So there is an equal value that you both have. Nobody is higher or lower than anybody else. Just like myself, I'm not higher or lower than anybody else. And just understand, yeah, we're all playing a game of life. Oh yeah, let me check YouTube quickly. Oh, hello, Bax. Oh, and thank you for the gift. You're actually the first person to gift me or tip me. Thank you. Literally ever. So thank you. Right, back to TikTok. What do you think about the Guru Muji? He has good knowledge. He's definitely awake. Yes, it's my mother. I feel we had a past life together, but in this life, she's Muslim. Okay, let me give you an example about connecting to people or being able to be in your lane and still have love and appreciation and share differences with people of different beliefs. So I had a conversation, the person might be online right now, I don't know, with a Muslim yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. I'm obviously not Muslim or Christian. And yeah, we were just asking, he was just asking me questions. I gave him my opinion. At the end, he said, no, mashallah. And I gave him a love heart. And that was it. You know, it doesn't really matter the faith. It's about the level of respect that we have between each other. I don't need to feel distant to you because you're Muslim or because you're Christian or because you're Jewish. We can literally have a civil discussion and discourse, and it can still be love. And at the end of the day, let's be real. Like, most of these religions believe that there is a way for us all to live in paradise. For me, I'm saying that you actually are in paradise right now, perceiving this TV show that we call human life. However, there is a good intention, genuinely speaking. Of course, it can get misinterpreted, and people can go to the extremes and misread text and all that. We all know that, but ultimately, there's no reason for somebody of a different faith to you, especially your family member, to not be able to resonate with you on a human level at minimum. What do I think of your consciousness? You are simply consciousness. There is no my consciousness or your consciousness. We are all expressions of one consciousness. That's why we perceive the same world, by the way. Have you read any Dolores Cannon books? No. Yeah, she doesn't have that respect though. One day she got angry and said she wants me to be like her. But this is where, Ho Yam, you need to be the example. I love this expression. I say it every live. If you want to change the world, you have to be the example. You can't expect the world or others to change for you. That's egoic. That's arrogant. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So you show her more peace, more compassion. Okay? You be the example. Took the words out of someone's mouth. You love to hear my thoughts on Dolores Cannon. She's a good break dancer. I'm joking. Imagine. I don't know much about her. I've seen some videos. And yeah, so I don't know much about her. The expression that she is. But do I want to be controversial now? She's right to an extent on backdrop people. If you know what that is. If you know what that is, then you know why I'm laughing. Bashar? Yeah, Bashar definitely knows what he's talking about. Why does this keep going in and out, this the image? What do I mean? Let's just say there's an idea out there that not everybody's real. And I just said that she's correct to an extent. And by the way, if you're like questioning, am I real? Then yeah, you're real. It really is that simple. It's not that nothing is inherently real. Actually, everything is inherently real insofar as everything is created out of pure consciousness, and that is the realest thing that exists and only thing that exists. Everything exists as an experience, of course, and the experience itself is at no distance from consciousness. But what we experience isn't always what it seems. This is the thing. This is to Mara Lies. That's how I say your name. Okay, everything that we experience is not exactly what it appears to be. Do I believe in reincarnation? Put it this way. You can't cease to exist. It's impossible. It's a law of reality. You cannot cease to exist. You can only exist, you as this consciousness. Therefore, you will keep experiencing different versions, let's say, of experience. You can't cease to be. But you as Leia, like you won't come back. There's only one you. Or Lily. Is it Lily? Leia? Don't know how to say your name. Like, there's only one expression of me that is me, only one expression of you that is you. But we share the same source, and that will keep experiencing. And it will experience in another body, another creation within itself, and that creation will convince itself that again it's a limited being. Leia. Just as you've convinced yourself that you are Leia. Just as somebody else has convinced himself they are Paul or Thomas. Just as we convince ourselves we are separate from Source. Which is the root of all fear, by the way. You don't fear the thing in experience. You fear that you are no longer an infinite being. Only then will you feel that you are finite and even have the potential to experience harm. For example, if you was in a lucid dream, you wouldn't fear anything because you'd know that it's all just a dream. You might even mess around and be killed and come back and be killed and come back. Don't do that here though. Don't do that in real life. We find comfort in being unique. I don't know if we find comfort in being unique. I think we find comfort in knowing that we are whole, ultimately speaking. However, being unique is awesome. So our spiritual awakening will be naught in the next lifetime. No, you might experience another life where you are a spiritual master at 6 years old. That has happened. The difference is certainty. We have no certainty in what's true. Yes, you do. You are certain that existence exists. You might not be certain about what you exist as, but you are certain that existence exists. In some way. Check YouTube. All we can do is be the best person we can. Sticking to a specific book of rules is too confining. Yeah, you're right. I'm not disagreeing. What is your thoughts on manifestation? It can only work if you understand your true self, your true nature. If you think that manifestation comes from your persona, you're going to be in for a tough time. You don't manifest within the manifestation. You manifest knowing your true being is the only thing that manifests anything. Your true being being that pure consciousness. Know that you are that. Then your desires will filter through that into the so-called physical reality. And then you get your manifestation to happen. And also don't take reality too seriously. that blocks you from manifestation too. Why are we really here? To experience an apparent physical reality. Thank you. Jesus loves you. Isn't that nice? What do you do? Living, existing, flowing. This. But I am an awakening teacher. If you want any help, click the link in my bio. Let's have a chat. And I have the #1 spiritual course out as well. It is what it is. Few advices for someone who is tired. Tired with what? Even tired as what? You observe tiredness. Who's really tired? Thank you, Leah. I get the feeling you are cool too, from your energy. But let's talk about tiredness. I probably know what you mean. It's very common actually that people feel tired living. Oh look, Leah just said the same thing. I knew it was this. Yeah, I get it. I promise I get it. So let's talk about this, because this actually will bring out a very good moment, or hopefully for some of you. I understand that tiredness, my fellow expressions of consciousness, is the tiredness of the weight that you are carrying. The weight that you are carrying is the weight that does not belong to you. This weight belongs to your persona. All these thoughts in your mind, all of this energy that you experience that weighs you down, particularly thoughts of the future, creating anxiety, this all amounts to a certain non-physical weight that leaves you feeling drained, tired, small, trapped, like there's no way out, nothing positive to look forward to. I get it. But all of this energy, all of this weight does not belong to you. You have decided, for some reason, to identify yourself as being that one who the weight exists for. It doesn't exist for you to hold, but you keep holding it. Why? Because you haven't realized, my fellow expressions of consciousness, that you are the observer. I'll keep saying this. I have no problem to keep saying this. You are the observer of the persona, of your mind, of your thoughts, of tiredness even of your emotions. You are the space, but you take yourself to be a little bug. You are the space of the experience always. When you rest in your body. You rest in your mind. Don't do that. Rest in your true self. Because when you rest in your body, meaning you feel like you need to rest, so of course you put your feet up, you might lie down. I'm not saying don't do that, but don't think that that is resting. It's not resting if you are still living in your mind, suffering from anxiety, right? That's not true resting. There's a reason you like sleeping, because your mind isn't as active and you're not holding on to that weight once again of the day, of the week, of the year, of the past 5 years. That is your true resting place, and you can rest in that right now. Always. It's always obtainable for you because you are that. We don't go into this state of deep sleep, of the absence of the mind, of the meditative state. We don't go into it. We are it. And forget that we are it when we identify with the content of experience. Start to see right now, in this very moment, the only moment that exists, start to see that you're having an experience. There is you, there is your device, there is me, there is the sky, there may be windows, whatever it is. There's stress maybe. All of these experiences exist within something, right? But what is this something? What could it be? Is it our head? How can it be our head? Because our head, our physical head, our body is also the experience. We also experience the head. Hence we say it's tired, the body. So if it's not the body that is experiencing, then what is it? It's this consciousness again. It's this space. All of these things exist within this space. But the space is not the body. The body is within the space. I'll say that again. Your body is in the space of experience. Even the sky is within a space of experience. The moon is within a space of experience. The sun, multiple universes that you can imagine are within the space of experience. Experience in and of itself. It doesn't matter the experience. It's all within a space. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to experience it. But this space is not a physical space. It's the awareness of the experience. And that awareness is what? Pure consciousness. That's what you are. You are the space of all of these things. That cannot be tired. I mean, my goodness. This space is aware of your body, my body, the moon, the sun, universes, politicians, money, the ground, all of these things. And it is not tired. That which is not tired is you. That's the true you. You are so unaffected by the body, by experiences, that you allow for a multiplicity, a diversity of experiences to take place within consciousness. That's what you really are. But you forget all of that and identify as solely the body and the mind. And that's where you start to feel tired with life, as if you are on this journey within life. No. You are life. Do you hear me? You are life. You're not on a journey through life. You are life. Just as the trees, the grass, the people in your dream is the mind. You are life. You're not separate from it. The being that you are does not end at the top of your head. It stretches to me. It stretches to other people. It permeates all things. That life force energy. Even this energy that you might be feeling right now is again being observed by something that isn't feeling anything. It's just a space. This is why what you identify with is super important for the level of awakening that you will be at. Look how many clouds go through the sky, yet the sky isn't tired. Look how much energy goes through the so-called physical space, yet physical space isn't tired. You as pure consciousness are like that. You are the space of all experiences. It's never tired. See your physical body's tiredness and your mind's tiredness just as an experience, because that's all it is. Don't get too wrapped up into it. It's just an experience. Oh, I'm experiencing tiredness. But when you say I, know that you are referring to the true self, consciousness, the awareness of it. Start saying I in relation to what you really are, pure consciousness. Get used to that, get comfortable with that. That's the true I. It really is no different than believing you are a video game character instead of the observer of the character. You know, sometimes you might play a video game and you say, oh, I got hurt. Oh, I won. I lost. But that's not really you. But you still say I. It's the same with the so-called physical world. You're saying I. Don't get me wrong, you are the body-mind construct as well, but you're not mostly that, is the point. You are mostly the observer of it. You choose to, from a deeper level, experience yourself, as I did, as a separate being, which is great. But awakening really is just remembering, oh, I'm the observer. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I say this often, right? This is a question for all of you. For example, right? I mean, we all know we don't choose our thoughts. That's easy. Thoughts just appear. But even your body, could you explain how you move your arms? And no, I'm not saying what is happening when your arms are moving. Ooh, muscles are contracting. The brain is firing neurons. No. That's an observation again. How are you moving your arms? How are you turning your head? Again, not what is happening. With intention, what is intention? Biological impulses, wish and thoughts. Again, as I said, don't tell me what's happening. Even intention, that's what's happening. Attention is present. How are you conjuring up intention? Really, there is only one answer, if you are to be sincere. However, it's totally fine to question, but there's only one right answer. Nina says, hi. You have a question. Would I share my first encounter of awakening? Well, if you mean the beginning, it was simply coming across the idea that there was like an energy self or chakras, spirit, these things. Just the idea that there was more to the physical me. Then I realized that was the beginning of the journey. But if you mean my actual awakening, what I call the enlightenment experience, whenever I'm talking about this, I try not to say too much for many reasons. But I also like to say, it's totally fine if you don't believe me. But essentially, I experience myself as everything. I experienced myself as everything. So-called time stopped. It was so clear that time was just imagined. I could see through things. I done a video recently about how nothing is actually physical. I was in the supermarket, looking at tomatoes and cucumbers, and I remember I was just laughing when I was I was just laughing at the food because I could see it's fake. It's fake. It's all fake. Nothing is real. In the sense that nothing is physical. It was so clear. I was laughing. I still bought it because, of course, my body believes that matter is real. But nothing is solid. It's an actual imagination. The same way your dream world isn't solid. It's an imagination. So I saw that all people are what I call now my fellow expressions of consciousness, singular. I saw many things in my awakening. And as you can imagine, I was changed forever. Even though I came to realize that I've always been that. So awakening doesn't even really happen. That's also part of the joke. Because you've never been the person that was trying to awaken. That was part of the illusion. You're all there right now. All of you. You're all there on cloud 9 right now, but you think you're on cloud 1. You're already that observer, observing the struggle, observing the life that you say is you, that you say is yours. But you just don't realize it. Why is TikTok doing this with the green screen? Oh my gosh, TikTok, you're so smart. I've never had this much trouble with it before. But yeah, pointing at that again, I do offer online coaching, as you can see above me. Did I lose lots of friends in my transition? No, I wouldn't say I lost friends, but it can happen. It can happen. But I did lose the need to have lots of friends, for sure. I don't need friends. I don't need lots of friends. It's nice to have friends, but I don't need. There's no need anymore. How do you open your third eye? You are already the observer of the third eye. You are already open. You are already awake. Don't limit yourself to an imaginary third eye. Something that you just believe is a thing. You don't have to believe that you exist. You are the existence aware of your body, of your mind. Know that. Be that. How nothing is real? Are you saying that we are not here? I said nothing is physical. That's what I mean. Nothing is really physical. And you are not really here in the sense that you are not really the character that you say you are. You are the observer consciousness of it. No, all different perspectives exist within the one consciousness. Just as you can talk to yourself and have different perspectives, but you are one, right? I lost my relationship. Yeah, can happen. But just know you are whole. You will be fine. I feel like I'm not on this planet. Yeah, a lot of people say that. I've written a blog about that. I've done videos about that. The reason you feel like you're not from this planet is really the feeling that you are. It's the realization that there's something more to you. So it's not a bad thing. But that which is something more to you isn't another planet. It's your true self. You can never feel lost when you recognize your true self. It doesn't even move, doesn't go anywhere. It's just what you are. That expanded self. Some people might call it higher self. Do you believe in our attempts to reach 5D consciousness so we can return to Tara, second density? You see, I know exactly what you're talking about, but these sort of things, it's all part of the game. You are already whole. You are already full consciousness. There is no number, no dimension for dimensionless consciousness. So as soon as we're talking about 5D consciousness, 10D consciousness, anybody who says this, my fellow expressions of consciousness, doesn't understand what consciousness is, what self is. There is no higher or lower. I said this earlier. I'm not higher or lower than anybody else. Even if I say I'm enlightened, it's just a manner of speaking to say that I recognize my true nature. Not that I'm higher. We are all that one source. But within this game that we call life, yeah, we can talk about numbers and things like that, but try not to relate it to the truth of reality. Because the truth of reality is we are already whole. We are already that which we are seeking. Skyworks on YouTube says, do you not cultivate your thoughts? Thoughts just flow. But depends what you mean by that exactly. Could you elaborate, please? How about not knowing one's purpose on earth? I've got good news for you. When you say you don't know your purpose, guess what? Your whole purpose as this pure, infinite consciousness, the observer of your body, the observer of your thoughts. You know you are that. You know you observe your body. You know you observe your thoughts. You know you observe your emotions. Its whole reason for the experience that it perceives to be created was for you to experience yourself as something other than itself. Okay, so this pure consciousness is whole, is complete. The observer again that you really are. It created experience. And now you believe you are your body and your mind. So just by being you, you're already fulfilling your purpose. Because the whole idea of you was you. The whole idea of you was you. So you can only fulfill your purpose just by being you. Oh, the green screen is on it today. Rather not on it. If you're on YouTube, you won't understand. But I'm doing like a special effects and it's not working. Dee, 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 dee. Can you explain how can we overcome death phobia? It's by knowing who you are. It always comes back to that. It's really as simple as what I keep saying. It's just hard to believe. Know who you are, then everything will make sense. Because you think that you come to an end. That's what the death phobia is. That you come to an end, or that you leave people behind. You don't come to an end. Experience simply changes. Just as you didn't fear the self that you was, or the being that you was, or the consciousness that you was, or the existence that you was before your physical body was born. It wasn't anything, right? You can't even remember it. It wasn't a thing. However, there's no such thing as nothing. So you don't end as the true you, as pure consciousness. That doesn't end. There's nothing to fear. You are an infinite being. Oh, good question. Why are we so attached to experiences? Says it's not perfect. Because on some level, we truly want to believe that we are not what we truly are. So we can actually experience the fullness of being a separate entity, seemingly, and being a person, seemingly, being a thing made up of matter, seemingly. That's why we get so easily attached to experiences. But when you get bored of it and want to know more of who you truly are, that's when the awakening journey begins. Why do we come back as blank states without our memories? Because every expression of consciousness is completely unique. However, because we are all from the same source, we can actually remember, so to speak, but attach or link up to other streams of thoughts in different realities that you might call a lifetime. That's also what telepathy is. Just tuning into the same frequency or thought. Also, as a limited being, you'd probably explode if you came back with all of your memories from all of the alternate timelines and experiences that you could possibly have. The finite cannot hold the infinite. Do you believe we carry ancestral trauma? Not inherently. It's more of a belief. And beliefs can be very powerful, such as the placebo effect. Do you not hold beliefs? Said Skyworks on YouTube. There must be beliefs that I hold, I guess, but nothing really that I can think of. It's hard to explain sometimes, but I'm just so, I in quotes of course, so aware of what I truly am, Skyworks, that any thoughts or even thoughts of beliefs that are within the mind, I just know so strongly are not really me or really mine. I'm just very aware. So let's say there's a belief that I like the color purple and the color orange, which I do. It's just a belief. Like, it's not really me. It's just this persona saying that it likes it. I like tennis. You could say that's a belief. But again, it's just a character. It's not truly me. And I'm not saying this just as a mental sort of abstraction. I truly do understand this and live like this and experience this. Not saying I'm separate from my persona, but I'm distinct. Death is the end of a physical being in a particular form. Well, I'll say end of a form. Yeah. Or maybe the illusion of a physical being, you could say. And just to say, particularly for new people here, when I say life is an illusion or something is an illusion, I do mean it, but I'm not saying that the thing is not real. It's simply a real illusion. Illusion is just something that appears to be something that actually isn't. That's all. Like, you could say a dream is an illusion, for example. Or, a mirage. A mirage is an illusion, however, the light is real, right? The light that made the illusion is real. So the illusion of the body, the mind, etc., still holds something true and real within it that allowed for it to be an illusion, and that's consciousness, your true self. We experience pain for sure. Yeah, we experience pain, we experience emotions. You see, this dualistic reality, which means the reality that there is a me and a you versus everything is one, isn't separate from the truth that everything is one. Do you not understand? Like, you get to experience yourself as a limited being, a human being, whilst also waking up to the truth that you are not solely this. You are also the source. You are also infinite. You get the best of both worlds. Which is another reason that we attach to experiences to answer somebody else's question. How did I come to this insight? Oh, you must have just joined then. Yeah, I had basically an awakening. Some people call it enlightenment. Some people call it samadhi. I experienced myself as everything. I simply saw the truth. So it's not mental for me. It's the actual truth. Exactly. Yeah, the best of both worlds. This is what I'm here to help you understand, all of you. I'm not here saying that, ignore your body, ignore the experience of the body. The body is awesome. What? The body? Wow. Senses? Wow. It's an illusion. But still, it's an amazing illusion. It's an amazing experience. But we can also understand that we are the experiencer too. We are both. Two sides of the same coin. And the observer of the coin. Ooh. Was it uncomfortable, my experience? No, it was exact opposite. It's like I saw heaven. It's like I saw God. Okay, it's not perfect, the username. For example, I used to hate the word God. Like a lot of us who are not theists and get annoyed at Christians, proselytizing. I used to be one of them. Or Muslims. I used to be, used to be annoying for me. God this, God that. But what about starving children, etc.? But on the day I had my awakening, one of the first thoughts I had was, wow, this is God. And since then, I've had no resistance to saying this is God or everything is God. So far from being uncomfortable, is complete. No words for it. How did I ground? It naturally happened. It naturally just became more integrated. So what's my take on God's source? There is only God, only source. You are God's source, talking to God's source right now. Playing on God's source. Looking at God's source. How can it be anything other than it? There isn't. And it's just a word. Let's not get too hung up on words. Because I'm obviously not talking about the Christian or Muslim or Jewish God. The idea, whatever I should say. The devil is your own mind. How can one treat chronic insomnia? Well, I can obviously only go from my perspective of what I know about consciousness. I can't come from a medical perspective. But what I will say is, for you to have, or someone to have insomnia, clearly they are not rested. There's something going on with their mind, their body, that is leaving them agitated, not being allowed to let go. They can't let go. Why can't they let go? Fundamentally, because they're holding on to the experience that they are the one that can't let go, that they are the one that has insomnia, is an insomniac. They are identifying as that on some level. They're getting frustrated on some level. All of those things make us more and more shriveled up into this idea that we are this separate self from that source, which is always relaxed, the observer of the experience. So at some point, in some way, one should try and, again, just from my perspective, from consciousness, try to remember what they truly are. Because then it'll be easier to relax and let go of the mind's grip on this idea of insomnia or belief or reality. Yeah, the devil is your mind, for sure. Getting more reason to know what you truly are. Because some thoughts can be devilish. Some thoughts can be godly. However, you're the observer of both the godly thoughts and the devilish thoughts. Source is the ground from which all things manifest, says Skyworks. 100% true. Meg says, once you wake up, there is no going back. Oh, that is so true. And actually, that brings me to this point. I often say to people, you have to be brave to awaken, and you have to truly want it. Because you don't really understand the drastic change that takes place in your perspective. I have had sleep paralysis, actually, Leah. only once, but yeah, I'm glad I had it. I'm glad I had it to know what it was like, to know what it's like. Just as people say, I was literally paralyzed. Like, I woke up and I couldn't move my arms. But how I got out of it is I literally just used my strength. I was so shaken. I was like, what is going on? I was like, I'm not having this. I woke up and couldn't move my body. So I literally just used the strength of my arms to try and bring my arms up from the bed to put them in the air or on my head. I used all of my strength and eventually it worked. But yeah, it was scary for a moment, for sure. But I reacted, like I said, very quickly, saying that, no, this is not happening to me. I'm not going to wake up paralyzed, no. My thoughts on it, though, I think it's something to do with waking up from a dream in a certain way. In like a sort of jarring way where your mind hasn't really calibrated itself, let's say, into the waking world matrix. It's still in the dream matrix. So it's still in that dream state of being so-called lifeless. Interesting that lots of people have had this sleep paralysis. Yeah, I've heard things like this, like your mind is still in REM sleep, or your mind puts your physical body into a paralyzed state so you don't act out in your dreams. I've heard things like this and it makes sense to me. See, I don't mind physical explanations too. If it makes sense, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to experience it again. It's not nice. So anybody who experiences it regularly, like, oh my gosh, no. I feel for you. But I have to say, it won't kill you. It's not nice, but you are still greater than it. Thoughts on astral projection, says Leia. Well, it's a mental experience. It's almost like lucid dreaming, although life is actually like lucid dreaming when you really wake up. My thing about astral projection is I have nothing negative to say about it, really. My only thing really is I wouldn't recommend being super transfixed or super, how can I say, needy about wanting to experience it, because I know many people on the spiritual path want to experience astral projection. There's nothing wrong with that, but just don't see it as the be all and end all, like it's something so great that you have to experience. It's just, I'll keep saying it, guys, it's nothing is more exciting than your true self. Awaken to that. Nothing is more awesome than your true self. Awaken to that. Remember what you really are. How can we truly heal our shadow? You are the observer of the shadow and the light. You know when it's light, you know when it's dark. You know when you are confused. You know when you have clarity. You are the observer of all experiences. You are the observer of the healing being good or not so good. Know what you truly are to see that you don't need to be healed. And of course, I'm not talking about the physical body, but neither are you. Through my spiritual awakening, I found that I am one with everything and have been able to forgive and find peace. Nice, Betty. It's true, you are one with everything. I am you, you are me. There's really no separation. Separation is an illusion. A necessary illusion. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not real. How have I gone about remembering who I am? I did the typical spiritual practices like balancing chakras and things like that. Many different things, but let me just skip to the end. Basically, it's when I started questioning who I truly am. I did that solely and strongly for a whole year of I was basically debating myself. I'm being told that I'm not my thoughts by all of these gurus. I'm not my thoughts, really? I'm the observer of my thoughts? Doesn't make sense. I am my thoughts. No. I'm the observer of my body. What do you mean I'm the observer of my body? No way. But I got to a point where I couldn't deny it. Yeah, I'm the observer of my thoughts. I'm the observer of my body. So I got to this mental place where everything really did make sense insofar as I am the observer. But I really wanted to experience it. And the experience came to me, that enlightenment experience, when I wasn't doing anything special. I was just putting on my trousers. I've said this a million times. I was just putting on my trousers to go to the park. And then in a flash, I was looking at my back. So my perception that was usually, or had the feeling that was coming from the body, showed me that perception actually takes place distinct from the body. Because I'm observing this body's back. I also saw my whole life flash before my eyes. And many other things. So that part just happened. I was chosen. That part just happened. But mentally, yeah, before that I did question, who is the I, essentially? Who is the I? What do I mean when I say I? Who am I talking about? Who's this observer of the I? Etc., etc. It was an amazing experience, yeah. And this is why when some spiritual teachers or non-dual teachers or so-called enlightened teachers will say things like, oh, the experience of your true nature is a simple experience. It's just remembering who you really are. Although that's not totally incorrect, because it is remembering who you are, to try and bring it down to like not being that big a deal. No, it is a big deal. It is a bloody big deal. Awakening from this illusion. Even though you've always been it will still be a big deal. For example, if you was wearing virtual reality glasses your whole life from a baby to the age you are now, you took the glasses off and saw the real reality. Even though you've always been in the real reality, just overlooking it due to having your virtual reality glasses on, it would still be amazing for you that you finally saw the truth. The truth. Even if you put those glasses back on, it will still be amazing that you finally saw the truth. Because what you didn't know, You didn't realize you was engrossed in your movie, in the illusion. So it is a big deal to awaken up to your true nature. And it is worth experiencing. How do you forgive someone who keep attacking you? Well, first of all, I don't know what you mean by attacking. That can mean anything. Physical, mentally, energetically. I can't relate to my family. Never did, never will. That's a common thing for spiritual people. We're all in the same boat there. But generally, if you can see that all is one, then you're fine. Spiritually attacking you. Nobody can spiritually attack you. Meaning you have to give them permission for their attempt at spiritually attacking you to actually affect you. Such as spells and things like that. You are whole. You've always been and always will be. Thank you. Glad to meet you too. I mean, that's one of the reasons, by the way, I do these lives. It's almost like I'm trying to be a beacon to those of you, my fellow expressions of consciousness, who just don't realize that there's someone like me here, ready to help you, to listen to you, to guide you. I've been here. Now you know. Thank you, Betty. I'm like here just to remind you that everything's okay. That you are whole, you are complete. That's the ultimate message. You think you're separate from source? What? Who told you that? You think you're not worthy? What? Who told you that? You are so whole that you don't even need to be worthy. You don't need to feel worthy. That's how whole you are. The idea that you need to feel worthy is again an ego trap. You might not realize it, but it's an ego trap. I can't do this because I don't feel worthy. I don't feel worthy of having this. I do feel worthy. Oh, no, I don't feel worthy. The coming and going of that feeling isn't helping you. It's again keeping you trapped in this idea that you are this separate being. You are whole. You don't need to feel worthy. You are already that, which is so worthy. The world, the universe appears to it. What could be more worthy than that? The whole universe appears to something we call consciousness. And you are that. You couldn't be more worthy if you tried. What is the truth? My definition for truth is that which does not change. That's my thoughts on Eckhart Tolle. Nothing negative. Seems to know what he's talking about. Haven't listened to much of his stuff, to be honest. But what I have heard, I've agreed with. Are you all aware, by the way, that this is the most important thing in the world, what we're doing right now? What I mean by that is knowing your true self, knowing who you really are, experiencing that becomes the light, the match that can light other people into their true nature. And it can spread like wildfire. Before you know it, peace on earth. And I'm not even exaggerating. Nikki says, I've been practicing my gratitude and I'm really seeing the positive effects of it. Yes, Nikki. Honestly, like practicing gratitude, I did a Instagram post about this, a tweet as well. It's super good. It's a good thing to do. Yeah, practice gratitude for sure. I do all the time. Like I have gratitude for all of you being here right now. I have gratitude for this microphone. I have gratitude for breath, breathing, air. I have gratitude for this coat hanger on the left of me. Because gratitude melts us into our expanded true self. That's why it feels so good. It's like, wow. Even if you think that the universe was created by a god or aliens, it doesn't matter. The gratitude for it is still going to give you a wow feeling. It's still going to melt your ego into the beauty that begets the awe of this beautiful universe. That's what gratitude does. If we was all truly self-aware, we would all get on so much more. Yeah, it'll be inevitable. Exactly, Moses. Good. Moses says, yeah, gratitude does help. It makes me look at the bigger picture in a way. Exactly. You're perfectly on the ball. That's what it also does. That helps you look at the bigger picture. That's what I mean when I say it takes you out of your ego. Skywork says, is not change also part of truth? It's true that we experience, or it's a fact you could say, that we experience change, but that which changes is the illusion, is my point. That which doesn't change is the truth. So we experience real change, but that's the illusion. I feel like your energy is so hard to come by. I appreciate that, Leah. I do appreciate that. Your sentiment is not lost on me. I see you. And you're a regular on my lives as well, so I appreciate that as well. I have gratitude for that. A lot of new faces, new names in this life. Like Soul Queen. Every moment, Soul Queen, is an opportunity for you to recognize who you truly are. When you say we come into people's life for a reason, well, they come into your life for a reason, and every person, gives you an opportunity to recognize who you truly are, or what you truly are. Ah, thank you, Lauren. First time on the live. Lauren. Wow, thank you, Leah. I do appreciate that. Why is it that everything delicious thing is harmful, especially foods. Oh gosh, that's so funny. I'm not laughing at you. I haven't had a question like that before. First of all, it's a belief system. Of course, I don't recommend you eat pizza every day. However, it's still a belief system. We are really strong with our beliefs that so-called junk food is so bad for us. You know, you can eat junk food but work out a lot, for example. And I don't think you see that much problem. I'm talking about myself right now. Right? Not to mention you can limit the amount of food you eat. But yeah, it's completely subjective. What's your thoughts on there only being one expression? What do you mean one expression? Do you mean one consciousness? Because I say that. To be honest, yeah, when you eat more cleanly, going back to the food things, you can actually taste foods that are considered boring more, like fruit, for example. Like the less like sugary man-made foods you eat, the more you can actually taste the real sugar in fruits, at least in my experience. Anyway, all in the imagination. What does it mean when your dreams always happen in reality? Well, first of all, I assume you don't mean always happen. That would be absolutely epic. Like, who are you? Like, what do you know? But yeah, dreams can happen in so-called reality, the waking state, because it's the same consciousness that projects the dream that projects the waking state. It's the same consciousness. We feel like they're different, but it's the same. One expression of consciousness. Well, self-evident that there are multiple expressions of consciousness, but one source. As soon as you type the question, you've admitted to yourself that there are multiple expressions of consciousness. Because there's you and your fingers, there's you and the screen. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're supposed to experience a multiplicity. Again, going back to food, I do think we, as a Western society, I do think we overeat. I'll be honest. I think breakfast is overrated, for example. Not necessarily for children, but for adults. I don't eat breakfast. I haven't eaten breakfast for years. For example. Literally. You don't either, Leia? I feel like it's because we've been programmed to crave the things we don't truly need. Of course, Moses. Yeah, we all in this chat, I'm sure we'll agree with you. You're 100% correct. We've been programmed to crave the things we don't truly need. Heidi says, how about one expression, then many expressions of that one expression? I think you're overthinking, with all love and respect. There were simply multiple expressions of the one consciousness. Because that one expression itself is itself. It's one expression. There can't be another expression connected to it because they both share the same background of that pure consciousness. As soon as there's a second so-called expression, that second expression shares the same source as that first expression. Pure consciousness. Pass me the biscuits. Oh, I used to eat lots of biscuits back in the day. Biscuits. Do 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 do. The thing about this notion of everything in moderation is moderation is subjective from person to person. Moderation for one person would be like 4 biscuits. Moderation for another person would be 1 biscuit. Moderation for another person would be a whole pack of biscuits. Right? So I don't actually go by that whole everything in moderation thing. I think it's a cop-out. Because you can change your moderation depending on how you feel. I'll just have one more. I'll just have one more. I'll just have a 4th burger. I just sang along with the song you're listening to. Under me sensei. You just do along with it. Oh wow. You see, all is one. You see, Lauren, all is one. There's no such thing as coincidences. That was an experience for you. Under me sensei, under me sensei, under me sensei. Jeez. There's songs what are real to true words. Yes, some songs are very deep. Thoughts on astral projection? I've answered that earlier, but I guess you're new. That's totally fine. And essentially, it's a mental experience. It can be cool, can be interesting, but it's more important, I suggest, to know what you truly are, the observer of the mind. You are literally that which is projecting you. The experience that you are having, you are that. You are the ultimate projector. Life can be so fun, and life becomes more fun the more you know what you truly are. No one said, could you explain solipsism? I can, but what I would say to you, no one, is go to my profile. Literally in my pinned videos, I'm answering the question to solipsism. It's like a 3-minute video. I go in detail. I did it a few times unintentionally and know it's true. Yeah, it's a true experience for sure, but it's not ultimately what you are. Soul Queen says, I look at life differently. I feel called to say this to you all as well. I wanted to say this for a while. Don't let anybody, or don't believe anybody who says that you should feel guilty or implies that you should feel guilty due to your privilege, whatever that privilege may be. This is what happens in the world. People will do the most to bring you down, to shrink you from something that you are simply born with or was given to you. Do not let anybody else try to dim your light, try to wreck your life with their limiting, insidious ways. I see a lot of that. It's like weaponized. You have privilege. Everybody has privilege to a certain extent. Everybody. People like to use it as a weapon of mass destruction. Oh, good question from Louise. She says, do you ever feel like sometimes your mind goes back to before awakening for a little bit? You know what? No. Was in mental health care to find out? No, I know now what I am. I feel like they just want you to understand the pain they felt over the experience. Do you want to see it in the loneliness feeling? No. You see, this whole world, think about this, guys. You are an infinite being, right? You don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you that you are. Accept it or don't. You are an infinite being. You are infinite consciousness, right? It was it was inevitable for you as infinite consciousness to experience a part of infinity that is the experience of being a finite being, of being a limited being. Okay? We are all sharing this experience of being a limited being, although the source of what we are truly is infinite. So everything that we do to ourselves and to others is for the purpose to keep us in this idea that we are these limited beings. Okay? And some things that we do and say bring us further and deeper and quicker into the idea that we are these limited, fearful beings. Such as shaming people. I want you to feel shame for what you have. When you are literally abundance itself. As is that other person, but they just don't realize it. Because they can only look at the character, their current circumstance, which can always change. We've all heard the stories. The most dire situations people come out of and live well. So that is just the baseline of reality, that we are trying to keep ourselves in ignorance so we can experience this so-called physical reality. Right? So people don't realize it, and they don't need to realize it, but I want you to realize it. People are trying to keep you away from your true self. And I'm saying don't allow that to be. When you feel like some of you said earlier, you feel like life is tiring, that's part of it. Other people trying to bring you down. You have one life. There's only one you. You have to feel good. You have to feel good. And guess what? Other people feel good for putting you down. Trying to put you in your place. Try to tell you how the real world is. Don't allow it. Allow them to have their beliefs, of course. But within you, know that you are allowed to feel good. You are allowed to feel happy. You are allowed to be selective with where you want to put your attention. For your own mental health. For your own physical health. It's not your job to save the whole world. But you do need to save yourself. Okay? That's what I mean. Before you know it, you start believing things that other people say that you don't even really believe in. You just go along with it. Like, yeah. But do you really believe it honestly? Whatever it may be. Is it true? Is it that which does not change? Or is it a subjective belief? Is it an identity? As I said in a video recently, a couple of weeks ago, I'm not holding back. I don't hold back on my lies, but even my real life, so-called physical life, I don't hold back. I tell people the truth about what's actually real and what's actually not, what's just your imagination. People love to identify with the negative and feel shameful and embarrassed, like they can't identify with the positive in their life. Imagine that, not being allowed to be positive and happy. That's what people around you do. They don't want you to be happy. I'm not saying everyone, of course. I'm generalizing. People like to tear somebody down who's happy. How dare you be happy? How dare you think you are infinite consciousness? How dare you think you are an expression of God? How dare you think that everything will be alright in the end? How dare you? Misery needs company. Exactly. Such a good expression. I put more positive in my life and it floods out all the crap. Good. It's like a lot of people don't understand that you can put yourself first and also help others. Shocking, horror. Who knew? Best meditation? Well, not your username, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. Meditate on the question, who am I? Am I my thoughts or the observer of the thoughts? Start there. You are whole, you are whole, you are all whole. It's okay. Experiences are supposed to happen, and guess what? Some are going to be bad. Some are going to be good. But try to maintain the truth of the situation, which is that you are this whole undivided consciousness. The experience doesn't affect that. And quite frankly, the more you live from this vantage point of truth of what you really are, the less likely so-called bad or negative experiences will happen to you. You just won't be vibrating like that. And I'm speaking from experience. And other people's experiences. Feel good, feel good, feel good. You have permission to feel good. Maybe you didn't give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to feel good. And don't judge yourself too harshly. Puppy says, I only allow myself to feel good when I earn it. I really wouldn't recommend that, but that's your choice. Moses, you're capable of creating yourself. Oh, maybe I'm going too far, but you are consciousness. Like, what you're capable of is what you already are. Consciousness, this observer of you. There's nothing more amazing than that. The more you really understand that, the more you can come to experience that actually, I said it before, I say it again, you created everything. Not you as Moses, but you as that source. You're not separate from source. You can never be separate from source, by the way. How could that even be? You are source that created everything. Just as I am. Do you believe in Jesus? But yes, you can heal. But I doubt you believe it. You see, there's still going to be boundaries in life. And that's fine. Oh, you believe Jesus walked the earth? Okay. Well, yeah, again, healing happens all the time. I mean, your body is healing itself right now. Feeling depressed and sad motivates me to get out of bad situations as opposed to feeling happy. Isn't that the same thing? Are you not feeling better, which is closer to happiness, by getting out of bad situations? Otherwise, you just stay in that situation. So you are actually, on some level, trying to feel happier. Well, first of all, some people claim that they can heal broken legs. I'm not saying whether it's true or not. But the fact is, the belief system that we currently share is one of broken legs cannot be healed. So it's simply not going to happen. I'm more motivated when I'm uncomfortable. Okay, but I'm not talking about motivation. I know not everything about the Bible was true, but they have to be referencing something. Yeah, they were. Your infinite nature. Yeah, talking about you, but people believe it's talking about some guy called Jesus. Skywork says, do you think it's possible to categorize states of consciousness? Or do you think it's futile? Are there categories in your opinion? I think it's okay to categorize experiences within consciousness for sure. And they do it very well in the Vedas. I can't mention them all right now. However, it just helps our person, helps our mind play in this dualistic experience. Of course, ultimately, there's just consciousness, which has no levels as it's dimensionless, but it doesn't hurt to categorize certain experiences within consciousness to help the mind understand a bit more about where it is in its journey back to self. Go back to TikTok. Pappy says, if God isn't If God isn't real, but the idea of God makes people do good, well, that's subjective, but I know what you mean. Does that make God, even as an idea, real? All ideas are real. The idea itself is a real idea, but the thing that the idea is referring to is not necessarily real. I can have a real idea of a hedgehog going to space on a jetpack. Yeah, if I have the right jetpack and the right size, I think it could work, right? It doesn't mean what I'm referring to can actually happen or is a real possibility. Well, once again, I'm enjoying this live. It's literally always good. Every live is always good. Thoughts on astrology. One of the first videos I did after my awakening was how astrology isn't real. Let me start there. I mean, it's a belief system. It's just a belief. Nothing wrong with it per se, but it's a belief. Why did the Egyptians use it? Well, it obviously helped them in some way. I didn't say it's not real. I said it's a belief. If I went to ancient Egypt, I could speak their language, and I said, "You are the observer of the experience right now." If they understood my question, so if they understood what I'm saying, they would have to agree. Yeah, we are the observer of what we're doing. No matter if they're using astrology or not, creating pyramids or not, they are the observer. The actual being is the observer of the moment. Doesn't matter how far so-called back you go into the so-called future, all experiences are being experienced by that experiencer, which is consciousness. Egyptians are no different. Again, like I said earlier, nobody is higher or lower than you from the ultimate perspective. But we are different in the illusion, that is. I haven't done what I often do. Just let me know, please. You don't have to, but I'd like to know. Where are you from? I want to know who I'm talking to here. What country are you from? How far are we reaching right now? Oh, California. I had no idea. Whoops. Wales, again, I had no idea. UK, I could tell. I'm joking. USA, UK, the Bronx, hip hop. Aussie, Yorkshire, Manchester. Oh, you're from Yorkshire, okay. Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Manchester. Actually, I might be in Manchester like next week. So essentially just UK and America. Fair enough. Oh, and Australia, sorry. South London, says Skyworks. Hedgehogs in space could be a possibility and may even come to be if they don't become extinct first. Even then, may be able to reproduce them. Hedgehogs in space. Could be a name of a new book. Hedgehogs in space. Or a cartoon. Hey, Virtually Smith in the house. Well, I know you're from UK. I just asked everybody where they're from. Sonic in space. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, you got lots to tell me. Nice. Look forward to our meeting. Tiger, would you ever want to go to space? Honestly, that's a very good question, Moses. I have zero desire to go to space. If you have posed the question to me when I was 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old, I'm sure I would have said yes. But it might be a boring answer, but I'm going to keep saying what I keep saying. After having my awakening, no experience can possibly top that. I've said this many times. I haven't actually said it on this live. But for example, I've used this example before. You could stand in front of me, okay, and turn into a dragon. And I'd be like, oh yeah, makes sense. This is how powerful my awakening was. Limitation completely left me. And the beauty of the moment became expanded. I am in awe right now, let alone going up to space. It will just be the same thing. I'll be sitting on the moon like it's all just me anyway. It's all just consciousness anyway. Like, oh yeah, a star. Honestly, it wouldn't be as big a deal to me as it would maybe for you. Not that it wouldn't be amazing, it's just that it wouldn't be any more amazing than me looking at a cow and being in awe at a cow. Like, wow, look at that cow. And I mean an animal, right? Or just walking, like, wow, I can walk. Everything in experience heightens to the level of God after awakening to your true self. I think Leia got that joke. I am primordial consciousness awareness. Yes, you are. However, if you have some tickets to space, then let me know. I'll do a TikTok live from space. It's like, yeah, so everything is consciousness. Whoa. What do you think about the concept of human purpose? Well, for one, it's a concept. Meaning, when it comes to purpose, I love saying what I'm about to say. We are always fulfilling our purpose. Always. We can't not fulfill our purpose. Our purpose is literally being who we are, what we are. That's it. We fulfilled our purpose by existing. What we choose to do with our existence is down to our subjective choice, due to our experiences, of course. But fundamentally, let's all understand we have already and can only fulfill our purpose. It's to be. You are a unique person, a unique being, a unique form. There is nobody that is you. Like, wow, you are a unique expression of the universe. What? That's insane. Yet true. This moment could not exist without you, Virtually Smith. This moment could not exist without you, D. Without you, Soul Queen. Without you, Tomic Gabriel. Without you, Moses, and everybody else in the chat. This moment could not exist without you all. We co-created it. So first and foremost, our purpose is always being executed, let's say. Now, from the personal side, the human side, the persona side, that really is down to, again, our experiences in life and what we feel called to do. What makes us tick? What makes us happy? What makes us feel like I could do this for the rest of my life? What makes us feel like this isn't work? I just like doing this. I want to do this. That's like a deeper purpose of your being that goes beyond money. However, there's nothing wrong with money. Money is also an expression of you. It's not separate from you. But if you are more in your ego, your purpose will be linked to survival solely or mostly. But if you're more within your expanded mind or your higher self, however you want to word it, your purpose would be more linked to, more connected to, how can I help myself help others? So how can I have enough stability to be able to do what I really want to do, which is help others? And you can help others in many ways. You could be an entertainer, an author, etc., etc. So depending on your attachment to your ego, the level, the degree, this will determine the sort of purpose that you seek in life. Again, on that note, if any of you are interested, I do offer online coaching. It's above me. You can click the link in my bio to see the offer. What's this add me thing? You want to ask a question? You can ask a question. Oh, you want to jump in? How do I do that? Oh, okay, I see.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hello.
Hey, man. I just got one question. If, like, what do you think is the proper way of governing, like, over people? Like, since every form of government has, in some sense, led to, like, not the improvement of humanity, has led to the, like, sort of the downfall of humanity. What do you think would be, like, a proper form of governing?
Um. Well, first of all, I do feel like people do need to be governed. I do feel like
Yeah.
there does need to be leadership, otherwise things will go haywire. But essentially, my
I
question is
mean,
going to
what?
be similar to what I often say. The so-called people in so-called power would have to have some degree of understanding their nature.
But I feel like it's all predicated around economics and not necessarily their own growth. Like, I would be okay with it if there was like a group of people who were like, we want to be financially stable and physically fit and spiritually awakened, and that was the core movement that was pushing it. But in reality, it seems like now we just want to seize what little power we get, and then they get stressed out and they die or young anyway. Like, I don't see billionaires living to 1,000.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The more you are connected to yourself, the more you will only want to do something that's prosperous. So the people who are apparently governing us, the best way for them to be able to govern us in a way that's beneficial for all will be for them to understand that we are all one.
The
Did
only
did
thing
you
though, I
did
think
you
it's
just
like,
join? Do you know what I talk about here? Do you know I'm talking about consciousness, about awakening?
yeah,
You know that, right?
yeah, yeah. That's what I
So
like to
so
say.
so understand. One second. So understand when we're talking about people having like malicious intent, let's say, and things like that, and essentially selfish government. I know what you mean. We've all experienced this
No,
or seen this,
but I'm saying though,
but
it's like it's an inevitability with collect. Like, once one human, you can see the cosmos in their eyes. You see the infinite potential in their soul. But you throw five or six of us together, and we're gonna make dumb decisions. It's just it's part of the human endeavor.
no, that's your belief system.
I mean, it's just like it happens. We like our low, like even our low frequency is necessary at some times to exist in an all high, almighty level at all times. You fall victim to your own ego. You need that low level just as much as you need the high. They need to be a balance of both.
Again, that's your belief system. What I mean by that, I'm not trying to like belittle you
No,
or
no, no,
anything
no.
like
It's
that.
not discrediting
What?
at all. Trust me, I'm
Yeah,
fully open to
mm.
other thoughts, other
Yeah. Can I
ways
can
of
I
looking
can I
at it.
finish what I was saying?
Yes,
I,
I'm sorry.
no, I hear you. I hear you. So what I was about to say was, um, the more expanded you are in self, the less ego you have actually. So ego is what arises on a more, to use the word, lower frequency. So these so-called, again, politicians and people who govern, they are. I mean, we'd all agree they're definitely operating at a more lower frequency.
Well,
They only have a narrow view of things. So, for
why
example,
is it that they have to have a narrow view? Sorry.
for example, I'm not trying to be a leader or anything like that. But if I was, there wouldn't be any ego in what I would
Hmm.
assert should be the way that we live. It would only come from a
Interesting.
place of unity. It can only come from a place of unity the less ego you have.
But I'm saying, like, all right, there was what was his name? I think it was Dostoevsky who said that if human beings reached a utopia, a perfection, they would only enjoy it for a little while before they start cutting themselves or hurting themselves, because they can't. Like, you can't have everything going too good without it eventually becoming depraved. Like,
That's a horrible perspective.
I don't know. I mean, it's human behavior.
Mm,
It's like if you
mm.
study human behavior, that's sort of how people have operated. I'm not going on my own opinions here. I'm
I
saying
know, I
these
hear
are
you.
observations of what people, in my own opinion, I think all people are great. I think everyone has, because we have the potential to do great. We just don't. We get scared. We get fear plays such a factor into it that we end up not wanting to do our greatness.
I hear you, but hear this. I do hear you. I promise you.
Observational as opposed to internal.
No, I hear you, but like, hear me out. Okay, I hear what you're saying, and I know you're quoting people. I get it. However, that person that you quoted is again speaking from a limited perspective, and you're saying we've seen people do this, we've seen people do that. Those people again are operating in their ego. When no, you have to listen. You have to listen, bro. You have to listen.
Sorry.
Or just lock you off. I mean, come on, man.
Sorry.
Right.
My bad.
I understand you're excited. I get it. Right. So the more you understand, because I'm giving you an answer here, right? The more you understand yourself, your true nature, the less you are going to be bored, for one, and the less you're going to want to hurt another person. You just won't want to.
Yeah, it's not
because
nature to do that.
It's not in the nature of the source. Because the nature of the source is that it's one. You can only even conceive hurting another person if you perceive them as being other than you.
They're not other than you. We're all one.
Right. So that quote you quoted was not talking about somebody who has realized their self. There's nothing in me, for example, as someone who claims to have experienced their true nature, I can't prove it, of course, that would want to hurt somebody else. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, to me, that's where I go again. That's where ego plays a factor into it. That since we are all one, we are all collective. To have,
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. The screen just went pause for a minute.
Oh, I was putting my thing back up, my picture.
No worries. Nah, I don't know. I feel like there has to be like a better way of governing over everybody. And I'm not saying like for one, I'm just saying like something that's like more predicated on competence than actual, like, it's ridiculous how much we have fictional things play such a control over our lives, and the things that are real we take for granted. And I don't mean like I mean like collectively as human beings do. Like the time we wake up every day, we're drawing breath right now. That is beautiful. That is a blessing in itself. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But we kind of just don't appreciate that, I think, as much as the chasing after the Jonases, the looking after the next hype.
Check this. Check this, right? Because end of the day, it doesn't matter who's apparently in charge based on paper. We are the people who change reality, meaning you become the example that you want to see in the world, right? This is always true. You have to become the example. So I did say earlier, but I'll say it again. If you are awakened to your true nature, let's say, and people vibe with your energy, okay, and then you start lighting a match, let's say, on them to become more conscious and to seek their true nature, before you know it, it spreads. Okay, it can spread really quickly, especially in the age of social media and the internet, right? So you'd be surprised how quickly so-called reality can change. Reality isn't fixed. Isn't just this is it. This is it. That's what it is. It's not. Listen, bro. Listen. It's not fixed. So you're talking from a vantage point that of fear, quite frankly. Oh, if only we could do this. If only we could do that. If only we could do this. It all comes down to you, first of all. You have to be the example. I know it might sound like it's not going to help anything.
No, it definitely does.
Okay, cool. Because it really is that simple.
I'm very much like I don't think I'm that great in life, so I'm like I need the simple answers to just like help me get it. You know what I mean? It gets through. But now I see what you're saying. It's sort of like it's the little pieces you got to pick up in your life in order to fix the bigger issue at hand.
Yes, in a sense.
You can't build from like you got to pick up the bricks and start laying them in order to see the house one day.
Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly, in a sense, yeah. And but also, the more you, the deeper you meet yourself, the easier it will be to meet other people deeply. Okay, so for example, if you take yourself, just if you take yourself to be a struggling person, for example, or just the ego, it'd be harder for you to see the space that you really are, the space of the ego, the expanded version of what you really are. It'd be harder to see that if you take yourself to be the limited ego. So it always comes down to this same thing that I keep saying. Know what you truly are. Know what you truly are. Know what you truly are. Then these questions that you're having won't even arise for you.
Yeah, you gotta take a deep dive into your identity, like deeper than your ego.
Find out who you truly are, because your perspective and perception on everything will change. Everything. I mean everything. The more you know what you really are, let's say for example, it's true. Imagine it's true what I'm saying, that everything is infinite consciousness and the source is one. If that's true, then everything else is like a dream.
Yeah.
Right?
More than but it's like, this is the thing that freaks me out though. It's the laws of physics that we're plagued on this planet. That's what bounds us to this concept of reality. That there are certain laws that we have to oblige by, that we're incapable of breaking. And I don't mean like laws made by man or laws from the Bible or something like that. I'm talking about like physical, like if I throw something, it's gonna go this far. You know what I mean? Something goes up.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I feel like that's part of the limitation within the consciousness, because we can't even fathom things beyond that principle in some sense, for the collectiveness, not the individual, but for the collectiveness.
But again, that the so-called, I have to say so-called laws, physical laws, doesn't limit what we truly are. Yes, because understand experience is always limited. There isn't one possible experience that we can have that doesn't hold some form of limitation, because all experiences are based upon forms. Okay, the forms create the boundary of a thing. So the boundary of my microphone, the boundary of your device, etc. Right, and that's what we experience as being other than ourselves. So that's just inevitable. There's going to be limits within physical experience, regardless. But again, the more you understand yourself, the less you'll see these so-called limitations as limitations. You would just see them as beautiful. You would only see them as beautiful. Like, wow, because if you are this consciousness that projected all of this universe, if that's true, of course I believe it is, but if it's true, then you can only be in awe at the fact that you created this idea of limitation.
I always think of it though like we're all pieces of it. Like my friend Trav explained it to me once, where he was like how everyone's experience is the collective experience. It's sort of like that's what we've perceived as God. It's just like the stories, the background of every individual, and not just humans. I'm talking about even plant life, even every type of consciousness has their own status within like they have their own levels within consciousness.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more like a level within consciousness. And the thing though is that that's what people perceive as God. It's wanting to experience life through a multitude of other beings.
Well, this is why I refer to everybody and everything as an expression of consciousness. That's the exact reason. Yeah, one consciousness, many expressions. Not levels, though. I don't agree with levels. There's only consciousness.
But I'm not saying for human beings. Human beings are all on the same level. But a human being, a plant,
even plants, same. It's all the same level.
See, that's where I think that's where it differs for me, because there's
of course
consciousness that's higher than humans. You know what I mean? Like I believe that there are there are not levels, but different stages of consciousness, and we're just in one stage where there's a multitude of stages to it.
See, I think you're talking about that which you are aware of now, not consciousness. Like things that you are aware of. That's what I think you're talking about. Meaning,
I mean that.
meaning,
Yeah.
consciousness, right, is
Mhm.
the observer, you could say, of everything. Right? We only experience conscious experiences. The thing that we experience isn't separate from the experiencer. So you're experiencing your phone or your device right now. The experience of that device isn't separate from consciousness. Yeah, it's a conscious experience totally, right? So consciousness,
But it's a
so
manifestation.
consciousness isn't separate from anything. Thus, all is it. So there are no levels from the perspective of consciousness. Just like in your dream, your person or the best scientist in your dream world, right? You might say is smarter than a hedgehog, for example. I use the hedgehog again today. But really, that scientist being smarter than the hedgehog is just an illusion. Because the whole mind, you gotta let me finish, bro. You have to listen. You have to listen. Because that whole mind is one. The hedgehog is the mind. The scientist is the mind. The floor is the mind. It's just an illusion that there's separation. So there are no levels. All levels are always illusory.
No, but that's why I'm like, it's not levels, it's stages.
Stages, same thing. Same
No,
thing.
It differs. It differs because it's the same way how when you're a child and when you're an adult, the same mentalities you had as a child and the same mentalities you had as an adult.
Yeah, again, so I'm not talking about the. That's why I said to you, you're talking about what you're aware of. Now listen. Remember, this is my life. I have to play that card. This is my life. Again, I did say to you, I think you're talking about what you are aware of. You just proved my point by talking about what a baby knows. Okay, I'm not talking about.
Saying that it's not what a baby knows. It's that we differ. It's the same thing, but the stages are different.
There are no different stages. If it's the same thing, there are no different stages by definition. It's the same thing. Remember, you even just said it. It's the same thing. It's not a baby.
Like water, gas, and ice. It's the same. Like steam, water, and ice are the same thing, but they can exist in different stages. I'm saying consciousness can exist in different stages, even though it's the same thing.
No, it's the same thing. It can't.
Yes, water, ice, and steam are the same thing.
The
elements are exactly the same in it.
So is fire.
But they exist in different stages. Exactly, everything exists. That's how it differs, and that's why it all looks different, but it's all the same thing. Like, we're saying the same thing. We're not disagreeing with one another.
I don't think we are saying the same thing. I don't think we are.
No, we definitely we are. You like open my mind, so like I get it now in a certain way. Like, thank you so much. I know it may sound weird, but thank you so much. You honestly like help me see how it all. Cause everyone says the Big Bang, but it's not a bang. It's an expansion. It was once one, and then it expanded into the night sky that we see today. Because that expansion happened in the beginning. That's how you just explained to me how everything exists in a certain way, bro. Thank you. Honestly, you like hit that part of the brain that needed to be hit. Holy shit.
Okay, great.
Oh man. Holy hell. Sorry.
No, that's good.
Ooh. Damn, man, you just made me understand exactly how everything exists. Like, it's in different frequencies, but it's all the same thing.
Ultimately,
it's the same.
Ultimately, it's all the same thing. Ultimately, yeah.
Nah, that's the. It is the same thing. It just exists in different frequencies.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It sounds nuts, but if I think hard enough, I can turn myself into a TV.
Well, you are the TV, yeah.
It sounds ridiculous. It sounds dumb as hell, but if I really sit there and I'm like, I could turn myself into a TV, it can happen. Like, it's just different frequencies and different molecules. It's so weird, but it all consciously can be the same thing. It's scary. It's an entertaining. It's like a fun kind of scary. It's like getting on a roller coaster kind of scary.
Yeah. You know
I mean, it's not like a fearful kind of scary.
It's not Scream 6, yeah.
Oh man, thanks for the conversation.
No worries.
Truly help me this Saturday. Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
London in England.
Oh, nice. New York.
New York.
Kind of, it's like the same city to city environment.
Same similar vibe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Similar vibe.
Although I can never, like, if I ever go to London, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get robbed or stabbed in London because I'm not gonna take none of the gangsters serious. I just can't take the UK accent threatening. I can't find it threatening. It can never be perceived as threatening to me. And I know it's wrong, but it will just never be perceived as threatening to me.
Okay.
Like, I don't know why. It's something like it fucks with me because it's like I know I'm gonna be in a horrible, like, if I'm ever in London, I know I'm gonna say and do either the wrong thing or the right thing, but it's just gonna be funny.
That's very interesting. But I hope you don't get attacked.
Nah, I'm not. I like. I don't know. I think it's like I'm sort of tainted being like 6'5" and shit. So it's sort of like
Okay.
it messes with me. You feel like I'm kind of like big as this.
Overly confident.
Like I'm the threat. And it sucks because I'm really not. I'm very much like, no, peace, love.
No, you'll be fine.
Nah, definitely. Yo, but Bud, thanks for having me on your live, man.
No worries.
Have a good one. I gotta get going. Gotta get a couple of sets in. Summertime's coming here, so.
You do that. Take care, D.
Later, Bud. How do I cancel this?
I'm not sure.
Or just remove me off.
Maybe I can do it.
Awesome.
Cool. Wow, how long have I been talking for? It's got to be 2 hours or more. Woo! Notice that different information will help different people. Did you observe that? It seemed as though we were talking past each other, but actually he was hearing the deeper message that I kept on reiterating to him about what's really happening. And then it seemed like he had a little awakening going on. He couldn't stop laughing. So everyone responds to different information. Energy is real. It didn't work for me, he said Soul Creed. Yeah, you're right, Moses. He definitely processed it differently. I was gonna make a big point, but then he started laughing, so I was like, oh, okay. Fair enough. I think I'm going soon. What do you want to talk about, Norris? Because I might be going soon. I've been here for like 2 hours. Whew. I must have been doing this maybe 3 hours. Okay, you ready, Norris?
Hello. Oh, I got my hair. Oh, man.
Surprise, you're live.
Yeah, what you say, man?
You okay?
Yeah, man, you're doing good work here, man. I can see what you're doing. It's on point.
Appreciate it.
So tell me about you, man. Introduce yourself, because I never actually talked to you, I think.
This is about you. What questions do you have about spirituality, awakening?
Okay, I'll introduce myself first. Yeah, I'm 20 years old. I've been studying what happens after people die for 11 years. I've been doing my work, and I've got to a point I understand the Bible's mostly metaphorical, not literal, and all this stuff. Okay, but let's get to the real point, right? Have you astral projected before?
Yes.
And tell me the biggest lesson you've learned from all your travel.
Well, I have to go somewhere else actually to answer this question. Because astral projection, just like all spiritual experiences, whether so-called natural or so-called from psychedelics, are of the mind.
Yeah.
Okay? None of them can compare to the experience of yourself. So in terms of what I've learned is I now compare the spiritual experiences that I had prior to my awakening to see that they weren't that big a deal. You're like, what? It's all part of the part of the dream. Like, let's say for example, oh no, go on.
Oh, it's like we're in the play, but behind the curtains is what's actually going on, right?
Yeah,
That type of stuff, yeah.
exactly.
So you've been behind the curtains and a lot of people haven't, which is very good. It shows how strong you are, you know, like a lot of people don't have like the inner courage to actually go behind the curtains. Oh God.
Yeah, you're
Okay, man.
yeah. You're very right. Don't know if you was here earlier when I said that, yeah, you do actually have to be brave for one to seek an awakening,
You have to have courage.
but also when you have an awakening like I did, let's say, everything becomes magical, everything becomes awesome, everything lights up. You see so-called God in everything. So
You see the
somebody
innocence in the eyes.
you see the essence everywhere, the truth everywhere. So when someone said to me earlier, would I like to go to space, I said, well, if I did go to space, it wouldn't be as amazing, any more amazing as it would for me just being here, I don't know, talking to you or playing tennis. Because I see the source, I see the light, I see so-called God, the truth everywhere. It's all that which we seek.
Yeah. We're just acting like we left her, you know, the feminine energy. Like everyone's acting like they're not there, but we really actually are there, you know.
Wow, you said you're only 20. Yeah, you're doing well. We are definitely actors.
I don't know how much I've done.
You got into this, right? Yeah, we are actors.
My dad, yeah, imagine, yeah, after I awakened, right? I'll tell you this really cool story. After I awakened, yeah, like I opened my third eye, I saw the sun, I saw the seed of God that's inside of us. After I'd done all my research and blah, 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 my dad, yeah, he's a full-on Christian, yeah. And like, he just woke up, right? He came up to me, he's like, Norris, I saw you in a dream, and like, everyone was like around us, right? But I was shining brighter than he ever saw anyone shine. And he's like, you were just, something about you were just amazing. I was like, don't worry. Maybe just a dream. But I knew in it.
Wow.
Because when you're enlightened, everyone else knows in it. It's because you had the courage to go through all your shadow work, and then you achieved what you came here to achieve. A really big question, yeah, is where do you see yourself in the next 1,000 years?
Existing.
Do you think, basically, from all I've studied, it's when you travel the universe and you become all the perspectives you want to become, and you've done all the work you need to do, you go back to her, right? You go back to the source where you came from. How?
I know what you're saying, but it's not really that. I know what you're saying. Because the reason I say it's not really that is because it's impossible, okay, for you to experience nothing by definition, right? You can't experience nothing. You can't experience non-existence. So existence in some way, shape or form will always be. And as we are this conscious observer, we will always experience some type of experience. So there will never be a so-called time. I know you know already is an illusion. There will never be a so-called time when we are experiencing nothing because we've gained all perspectives. There's no such thing as gaining all perspectives because there's always new perspectives. That's why we are this infinite source.
That's how we divided into
We wouldn't be an infinite source if there was a limit to it. Right? Okay, we've got all this perspective now, let's just go home. That wouldn't be an infinite nature. Right? So there is no end to the amount of experiences and perspectives that can be.
But what about the masters? What about our guides? You know, because you know how we talk about guides. There's obviously a different level to our guides. You know, there's a higher level to our guides, and there's obviously a high level to those guides. You know, and it keeps on going.
Yeah,
it has to be into it, right?
No, that's. I know what you're saying. That's the. Man, I feel like I'm talking to my younger self. Honestly, you're saying things that I used to say. But yeah. But essentially, again, that's all part of the illusory. That's part of the game. Masters. You are a master. Everyone is a master. The end of my finger is a master. Meaning, what I mean by that, I know you're talking about beings, but what I mean by that is we all share the same source. Like, for example, on the screen you're looking at right now, right? There's my face, there's microphone, there's distinction. Clearly, we can distinguish between the two images. But really, there's just one screen. Okay? You can change the app, you can change the TV show, the screen stays the same. You can put a so-called master on the screen. You can again change the screen stays the same. We are the screen.
Yes.
Right? The masters are just characters in this play.
Keeping a projector, that's how I see myself. I see ourselves as a projector, like an ancient projector.
Well, consciousness is a projector of sorts, yeah.
Yeah, like, have you ever heard the feeling of the projector running, you know?
You're superimposing an actual projector onto that sound, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, it makes sense in a way or another.
You like the concept. That's fine.
Oh, let me ask you a really nice question, so it doesn't get you too tired. Tell me about your manifestation. Tell me the most amazing thing you manifested.
I assume you mean like things. Do you mean like things or
like an object? Like
an object.
Something you manifested before, and tell me the story about it, because I know you have 100 billion%.
Objects. I can't think of anything other than money, to be honest. Like I've manifested a lot of money.
That works.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else other than that, really.
Wait, I got some questions, right? Because I manifested before, right? But every time all my manifestations go wrong, right? It's because when I become too attached to it, or I tell someone else, that's when it just gets taken away from me.
Oh, let me help you, bro. Right? So,
Please,
see, when it comes to manifestation, I said this earlier. Right? Actually, I'm gonna clip it and put it on my page, so make sure you follow me. Basically, manifestation. There's this erroneous belief. There's this incorrect belief that manifestation comes from the person in this so-called physical world. Right? It doesn't come from there. It comes from our true being. Our true being is infinite abundance. Right? It's infinite. It lacks nothing. Okay, so manifestation comes from the abundance of that. That means the more we recognize we are not the persona, we are not these persons, we are the source or experiencer of it, that knowing, that energy, that truth will filter into our beings, into the physical world. And then our experience will be more conducive to manifest that which we want, that which is connected to the abundance that we seek. Know that you are the source. Know that you are that pure consciousness.
Yeah, but
live as that.
Gets lost, you know? Like, even the best souls have lost to this planet, you know, to the ego. You know, that's true. Like, there is really, like, high-level souls that have experienced so many lives and come to this planet and get stuck. Like, it happened, bro.
Nah, again, that's a belief. That's a story you're telling yourself and believing. I'm not.
That is weird.
I'm
That's
not
weird.
trying to belittle you. I'm just giving it to you
No,
raw.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true. Bro,
it's
you
a
see,
story that you're telling
I
yourself.
yeah, I just needed something wrong, and I kind of have to like get myself right, whatever. Oh god, that was a really important question just flew out of my head. Oh god, wait 1 second. This is painful. Hey, tell me about your diet.
1 meal a day.
Perfect.
I don't eat animals, not anymore.
It helps a lot, yeah.
I love rice.
Fluoride free?
Say again?
Are you fluoride free?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Oh, let's get oh god. Damn. No, it can't get out of my head. Oh. I've talked to someone about astral travel, right? And he told me about like a spiritual school.
Okay.
So, do you think you're at the spiritual school as well?
Oh, you. Oh, I think I know I think I know what you're saying.
Like, you know about the university, man.
You see, these things, these are just like games for the mind.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I'm gonna be consistent. I'm always gonna say the same thing to everyone. It's all games for the mind, but we're not the mind.
There's so many distractions, bro.
Yeah, it's a distraction. It's an ego trap. There's a lot of spiritual trap. There's a lot of spiritual niceties that are actually ego traps.
Yeah.
Ooh, I was astral projection. Wow, I'm amazing. And do you know who you are? Do you know yourself?
Yeah. Do you know what you have in you? Like.
Do you know what you truly are?
Yeah. It's so funny. Right now, we're not even going inside a word of like territory anymore. That word is gone.
So
the actual word is on the one information. That's the biggest word.
Oh,
that's
okay.
happening on this planet. Do you agree?
I mean, as I said earlier, we all. You see, I don't look through the lens of fear. Yeah, first of all. So, but even the idea that there's a war going on, that's still a fearful perspective. Okay, so because I see truly that we are all one, even the so-called bad people. Okay, we can't just say we are all one, but ignore or separate the bad people, right? We are all that. We are all doing this job to keep us believing that we are separate beings. So the only war that's really going on, if you want to use the word war, is the one that we put on ourselves, which is believing that we are separate from source. Only then does fear really creep in. Only then do we judge others. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, some people don't deserve,
I understand.
You know what I'm trying to say, yeah?
Hell, it's just a state of consciousness, alive.
Yeah.
God damn it, man. Oh.
Perspective is almost everything. Perspective is almost everything.
Have you been to that state of consciousness where you have a question and the answer comes with it?
Yeah.
Like you think about a question and like the answer pops out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the highest state. Okay, let me tell you about what state of consciousness I was in, right? I was in like my highest state, when I was vegetarian. Because now I went down with the ego, I can tell you the truth, I'm not a perfect person. I kind of went down with the ego. Fell for the traps, went through...
You going KFC, yeah?
Opened my third eye, done all the good stuff. And then fell back to the Pinocchio trap, But yeah, man, there was it still taught me something, Where's that going?
Don't worry. Look, don't worry. It's okay to go up and down because just remember this, bro. You are the observer of the ups and the downs. You are never the up or the down. You are the contentness. You are already whole. You are always whole. Nobody can take that away from you.
Oh yeah, the big question. How do we... Okay, this is the question I was about to ask. You know how everyone talks about the currency of the future, right?
Go on.
Let me tell you simply, the currency of the future is going to be your focus. Agree or disagree?
Explain more. What do you mean?
Like, think about it. Imagine a planet where a man has 2 wives, and in that planet, everyone is rich and abundant, right? what are those two wives gonna want from the husband? Attention. They already have everything they ever wanted, but the actual thing they would like from the husband would be his attention, right? So this can work in many perspectives if you think about it. Because our attention, it goes like where attention goes, energy flows, right?
True.
So I'm pretty sure when everyone becomes super elite and we actually become unity, our attention is going to be the only currency that can actually be given and exchanged, you know?
I know what you're saying. But I'm gonna burst your bubble a little bit.
Please.
The reason I say that is because, again, I have to be truthful. There is only now, and I know you know this. I know you've heard of this,
I know.
but you're still going into this imaginary future, this imaginary world.
I know.
But really, there's only now. Again, it's the ego trap.
Yes.
The future can literally be anything, right?
know.
But because you are a powerful being, you can create this world where what you said comes true because of your beliefs.
Yeah.
And when I say world, I don't mean like the whole world. I mean within your awareness. Be here, be now, be present.
Whenever we go to like a really high state of consciousness, right, you see you affect the people around you, right?
We always affect the people around us.
Like we affect them in like say, I don't know how can I say it, right? But
Do you mean in a positive way?
yeah, in a positive way, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But like, I don't see crime. Like I've done this experiment, right? When I was in my highest state, I never saw one crime happening in front of me. Like it was just peace, laughter, and then, oh yeah, this is the really important part. When I was at my highest state of consciousness, right? I was talking to people, right? And whilst I was speaking to them, the conversation already ended. Like I already heard the conversation that we just about to have. I was like in the future, you know, and in the past at the same time. I was like,
Oh, like deja vu.
no, like it was different than that. It was like when I was having conversations with people, I already know the conversation. Like from a state of consciousness, I already knew the conversation we had and we were having, you know. So I was just observing the conversation happening, but really I can travel in a way that I understood the whole conversation before we even started, which is actually kind of crazy.
As in,
That's a hard thing to understand.
as in word for word.
Huh?
As in word for word.
Exactly, word for word. That's the most unexplainable thing I've ever done. But it's probably explainable in a way.
No, I can believe that. I see no problem with that or any contradiction. Yeah. We are really powerful.
Yeah. What was your hardest lesson you've had to learn on this planet that your ego was very trapped on?
Hardest lesson. It's hard for me to think about anything negative. Honestly, it's hard.
I know.
I'm just on cloud 9 like most of the time. Hardest lesson. Oh damn. What's been hard? I don't know if I could say hardest lesson, but I would say, let's say, sense of loss would be this. I don't think I've said this before either. When I say lost, I don't mean like ultimately lost, but awakening to the truth that everything is me. Yeah, meaning all is one. Relationships with, say, friends or family has a different quality to it. Because now it's like, oh, you're my fellow expression of consciousness. You're not just my mom, my dad, my brother, my cousin. No, you're literally the same as me. It's a different quality, and I wasn't really ready for that.
You don't see the duality anymore.
Sorry?
You don't see the duality anymore.
You could say that, but yeah, the emotional relationship isn't the same as it used to be. So I didn't expect that to happen.
The thing that I really find interesting, right, is because when we become spirit, we wouldn't be attracted to men or women. That's not how spirits work. Because our consciousness is just like an artist, you know, an artist with loads of pictures in front of him, and he loves all the pictures the same. And those pictures wouldn't be, no matter how ugly that picture is, for the artist will always be his favorite one, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's why I think it's very hard to understand for a lot of people, is because being attached to a certain person for a certain amount of energy would basically lower you in a way, you know?
Yeah, if you attach to the point that you forget, would they become codependent? Yeah. Yeah, I can tell you've done a lots of thinking. I can tell.
Yeah, bro, I've done studying, thinking, backtesting, retesting.
That's good.
I always get lost, you know? That's the only thing about me. Look, this is the thing about me, right? I always get that really close, like, to Exodus mentality of, like, flesh, right? Of, like, eat, bills, all this stuff here. But, like, it's like, you know, there's a word inside of my mind, right? With voices. And, like, my observer is here, right? In this little dot. And, like, all these voices are just attacking it, you know, like, at fast speed. Like, I have to, like, pick, choose. Like, I pick the right ones, right? But then, right when I'm about to enter the state of, like, unconditional love and peace, I just press the zeros, you know? Because I call it the game of 0-1-0-1, you know?
Sorry, one second. Sorry, but what is observing everything that you just said?
The observer, yes, I know the infinite observer, but the infinite observer has tasks to do. You know, he has missions. Like we came here on this planet to learn limitation and manifestation.
No. The observer solely observes. That's all it does. You see, there's two things in experience. There's the sense of being a doer, right? And there's the selfless. At the moment, you're taking yourself to be the doer. What I mean by that is that you're identifying as being the person who is doing life or living life and doing research, etc., etc. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's very normal, right? However, what you really are is the observer of the doing, of the actions.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So what we often do is we say, oh yeah, I know I am the observer. Oh yeah, I know I'm consciousness. Oh yeah, I know I'm the I am. I know. And then we say, oh, I did astral projection. Oh, I opened my third eye. Oh, aliens. Or whatever. Yeah, we slip back into duality, seemingly back into the ego self, in a second, when really, or even like the idea of there's only here and now. Oh yeah, I know there's only here and now. Next thing you know, oh, in the future, blah blah blah.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's an ego trap again. I'm just trying to be a reflection for you.
You're doing good, bro.
Right? The doer is the illusion. You are the observer always.
I know, but you have to be in the middle of the observer and the doer, right?
No, there's no middle.
But okay, if I'm an observer all the time, right, and just observe and just, how am I supposed to observe without actually acting on things that are coming towards?
You're talking about two different things, right? The observer and experience. Experience happens. Like thoughts will happen in the person that you are. Okay, of course there'll be thoughts. I want to do this. I want to do that. Your body will move, etc., etc. However, that experience simply is just an experience playing out in front of consciousness. In the same way, in your dream, you feel for sure that you are the doer. You're the doer in the dream. You're doing these actions and you're creating these thoughts. But really, you are the observer of that mental experience. It's just a beautiful and amazing illusion that we are the doer. Like even myself, for example, right? So there's a microphone here. My name's Tiger. I'm on TikTok. I could easily say, yeah, I am this, I am that, I am speaking, I am a teacher, right? But that's more for other people. I know within myself, I in quotes, I'm none of this. This isn't even me. You can't see me. You can't see me. I'm the source of this moment. Now, this is what's hard to really experience. let alone understand mentally. That literally we are the observer of the experience, and that includes the body. There's a strong sense that, again, that there is this me, this I, but there's also a strong sense in your dream that also isn't real.
So how do we go in the middle and balance it out?
It's just accepting that it's okay to be lost in the delusion of being the doer, of being the person. That's okay. I'm not saying it's a negative thing for you to feel like you are a person, or for me to feel like I am a person. It's not negative. It's actually necessary. Right? It's necessary. Otherwise, we couldn't experience life properly. But I'm just saying, ultimately, we are this pure space observer, whatever you want to call it.
True.
Right? So it comes down to you choosing when to identify as the person and to let the person be. Just let it be and know that you're the observer observing life.
Oh, like putting your body in autopilot.
Yes.
And then stopping it to actually create.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, it's the same way your the cells in your body, as you know, are regenerating and dying and regenerating all the time.
Yeah, and your heart is beating.
And your heart is beating. You have no problem with that, right? You have no problem with that being autopilot. But when it comes to the thoughts, no, I'm the thoughts. I'm the thought, yeah? But the heartbeat, whatever.
Yeah, right. Bro, it's funny because everything you just said I already know, but like I'm making you repeat.
I know. That's why I said I'm being your reflection.
Oh, bro, it's literally not, like I got to the point like people talking to me, I already know everything, but like it's like if I took out my soul, they wouldn't be able to understand me because I'm speaking too much truth. And if I speak to my ego, they'll just make fun of me for speaking from my ego, which I'm very. This is the part where I'm trying to confuse myself. So help me with that part, right? How can I speak to someone properly without letting the ego too much out of me? You know, 'cause I sometimes project my ego a bit too much.
Well, what do you mean by talk to someone? Like someone in a shop? Like
yeah, like a normal conversation.
Normal conversation. Well,
Yeah.
With things like that, like say to use myself as an example, I'm just so aware, bro, that like everything that's happening is a happening. Like I'll say that again. It's a happening. It's not necessarily happening to this this individual self. It's just an experience taking place. So I sit back and become the observer of it. Whatever happens, happens. Again, it's just about being the observer.
Yeah, but the observer and the actor are two different things.
Well, they're distinct.
Maybe it's all one. It's all one at the end of the day,
distinct
right?
is the word. Distinct.
But in the play, it's two different things, right?
No, distinct.
What do you mean?
Distinct in that because separate sounds like there's a separation. It's not a separation. It's a distinction. Like when I said to you earlier about the one screen has my microphone and my face. There's distinction, yeah, but it's still played out on the same screen. So the observer and the observed, or the observer and the ego, are distinctly different, but not actually different. They have different roles, you could say.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So in those egoic conversations, that's a test for you to try to detach from the idea of being this doer, the speaker, and just allow the words to flow and be the observer of it. Alternatively, be your ego. Yeah, just be your ego. And after the conversation, just remember what the truth is.
So I have to be like a third person, like GTA.
No, that's the thing. It's not even third person. Like your first person, we mistake our first person for being the third person. We mistake the first person for being the third person, meaning we mistake our true self as being the ego.
Yeah, but the ego is a powerful thing, you know.
Of course. Well, no. Just to be clear, it's seemingly. I have to use that word. Seemingly powerful.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, there we go. go. You got it.
It's
Wait,
never
what's
stronger
the
than your
end of
true
you?
self.
Every comment, every word. Oh, you know, mate. I don't know, man. Like, you done your mission correctly today.
Good. Okay, but yeah, let me clock out now. It's been
Yeah,
a long
man, I was
life.
about to say that. We both had the same thought. Like, tiger, man, tiger. No,
Nice
I'll
one, man.
see you in infinity, man. I'll see you in infinity.
See you in infinity. Yes.
Goodbye.
So, as I said, everybody, I've been talking for hours. Soul Queen, you're amazing. You've been here for most of the talk. Like, honestly. And Leia, I know if you're still here, much respect and love. But unless anyone has another quick question, it's a quick one. I'm gonna go. It's been like 2.5 hours, I think, and unfortunately, my body doesn't realize it's infinite. So have a wonderful day or evening, my fellow expressions of consciousness. Please follow me, and if you want to have a talk where I can help guide you on your journey, click the link in my bio on my page, and we can set up a online video chat. Take care and peace to you.